Hello everyone, it's me once again, Vad, and today we're going to do something different, because it's the month of May, and it's Star Wars month, so woo! And May 4th, one of my favorite holidays, so we're going to enjoy the Star Wars trilogy. And yeah, I know a lot of people haven't seen it, but, we all chill back because, Star Wars, and I love that. So we're just going to go on analyzing of all the original movies. I'm not going to go all crazy and mad like all the other ones. Don't worry, we're just going to chill. So, for people who haven't seen it, this is a movie of great masterpiece. Look at this. This is the story of an independent filmmaker that just blew people's minds. This is literally a movie that started a franchise in my childhood that has inspired me to this day. So, we're going to go back to where it started with episode 4, A New Hope. I hope you enjoy. Listen carefully what I say. Hope you learn something. Alright, so, episode 4. What can we say about episode 4? It's a masterpiece. Yeah, I say that about all the Star Wars movies, except the god-awful, the first 3 numerals. Yeah, we're not going to talk about those in this, though. Episode 4. What can be truly said about the movie other than it's a masterpiece, because everyone does that, and that's being biased. It is truly great for its time. It really is. And it's still, it still stands, in my opinion, as a very, well-executed movie. And the effects are great and everything. Although the story is a little thin layered, I'll give people that. But what makes the movie still exceptional to this day is the reaction and ploy off the characters' interactions. Like with Chewie and Han, you still believe that they're freaking smugglers and co-pilots because they know each other. Al Guinness and Mark Hamill's Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker team up. They work very ploy off each other. They're funny as shit. And, it wasn't even just the actors, it was the effects in general that drove this story. It was much grander because this came out in the time of the 70s and 60s. A lot of people didn't have high hopes for those type of movies. There has not been a fantasy film to strike at odds with people at that time. It was about disaster flicks and anti-heroes. So you had a lot of Dirty Harry flicks, which is a very good series, but I can't talk into that because this channel reviews sci-fi. If anything, someone else might post something about that. I recommend you to give it a watch if it's on AMC or possibly on Spike, I don't know. And then you also have, Earthquake, which are classic, disaster movies. But I'm getting off topic here. We're talking about Star Wars A New Hope. And, with the studio against George Lucas in such a creative, wide-imagined film, it's kind of wondering how this movie got out in the first place. But through devotion and hard work, they actually pulled it off. But sadly, we all know that George Lucas, kept going on changing the film. But, as I'm showing here, this is the original trailer piece, and it's still almighty to this day. I still love the shit out of this old-fashioned trailer. Even though the lightsabers kind of are just glow sticks and for no color or anything. The driving force in this movie wasn't the director himself, it was actually Al Guinness, Obi-Wan. He drove these actors to devote themselves. Even though everyone gave up in this movie, he was the veteran actor that still drive the force in this movie. And he started hope amongst others, and that's what makes this actually a good movie. So, in retrospect, when I look at episode 4, I'm reminded of how a common man and many obscured people can come together to create a wonderful idea. And that's why I consider episode 4 one of the greatest movies of all time. But, in retrospect, I would like to say that it's still not my favorite, but
Sorry about that, guys. I think disposed of some trash. We're back to our review of Star Wars. In peace.
But, like I was saying, Star Wars Episode 4 is still cemented as one of the most timeless movies of all time, even if it's not my favorite out of the Star Wars trilogy. But, you know, everyone's got their favorites, and Episode 4 did, you know, reveal us all these colorful cast of characters. I can't help but like Han Solo and Chewie. Great characters.
Alright guys, before we continue, kind of first since I'm gonna get really ill. You just follow me. Hey, what are you doing in my house?
Mr. Jar Binks.
I know who the hell you are! Why are you playing pool in my house?
Mr. playing pool, but Mr. lost. What? Mr. not doing anything.
You are in my fucking house, you trespassing son of a bitch! Mr. what? Mr. what?
This is Mr. house.
Mr. the scum! Never come back here! So episode 5?
Now, I'm not going to get too much into Episode 5 because everyone remembers Episode 5. This is the one that defined the common knowledge of Star Wars in everyone's mind. This is the one that imprinted the greatest plot twist in cinema history in everyone's subconscious. Yes, we're going to remember Star Wars until we're dead, thanks to this movie. Thanks to Darth Vader's growing character, the introducing of Boba Fett, the inclusion of the Great Hoth battle, the inclusion of the romance of Han Solo and Princess Leia. This had everything. And honestly, I forget who it was that directed the movie, but I'm going to check very quickly for you guys. It wasn't George Lucas, because George Lucas had a thing that was going up against him. Yes, his name was Irvin Kershner. He was, he dealt with very close encounter characters. Like, he was able to make characters interact very well. Like Joss Whedon. You know, Joss Whedon makes the Avengers look well. This is my, honestly, when I was talking about Episode 4 not being my favorite Star Wars movie, this is, sadly and cliche, like, this is my favorite Star Wars movie. Humor, development, character, darkest part of the story, introduction, more characters, but nothing too extreme for us not to comprehend and, you know, be disappointed with. This was definitely the big step in the book. This is like the mid-chapter where you're getting to a climax and you just are picturing in your head this great, unstoppable battlefield of these rising characters. And we actually got to see, this is also where Yoda got introduced. Misa, do or do not. There is no try. And you know what? They tried very well with this one, and that's why I give Empire Strikes Back a frickin' plus in my review. You should think so too.
Alright guys, before we continue to episode 6, I got some unfinished business with the drawing. Really? Yeah, of course. You know what, this is just too weird for us, so let's just get back to the fucking review.
Mr. Jar Binks.
Really?
Lisa, Jar Binks.
One thing clear, you little piece of shit. I want you out of my house. Got it?
Lisa.
That fucking book. Alright guys, well, I guess we start episode 6 now. Any further interruptions.
Episode 6, Episode 6. This is the one that everyone throws at me when I claim the original trilogy is great. They're like, hey Vad, what about Episode 6? That child's movie. And while yes, I will agree it's much more lighthearted than Episode 5, I suggest it had to be, because Episode 5 was revealing the tragic past of the heroes, and this had to come up cleanly and have a good ending for the whole series. And, well, what about the Ewoks destroying the Empire with sticks and stones? I see that more as a metaphor than anything. But yeah, I will agree, sometimes I look back on that a little less forgiving, but it's okay. Star Wars! Woo! No excuse. The story wraps up all their character arcs here. We get to see a lot more interactions, even with some new characters like Jabba the Hutt, who has been referenced in Episode 4 and 5. We get to see more Yoda and his conclusion to his story, and we get to see the final chapter in Darth Vader's saga and redemption with the help of his son and the Force. So, when I say that this movie is more lighthearted, I really do say it is. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't hold those dark elements, and it doesn't have those light elements to balance it. It's like yin yang. You can't have the light side of the Force or the dark side of the Force. You need both. So, in conclusion, I would give it's nowhere on an A scale like New Hope or Empire Strikes Back, but even the impressive fight scenes and all the things I have suggested, give it Return of the Jedi a B++, something that doesn't even exist on the scale. You can ask any teacher that, and that's because I enjoyed this movie from my childhood, and always will. So yeah, that's what I have to say about Episode 6.
It's the original trilogy. One of the best masterpieces in sci-fi genre. However, everyone's got the dark side. If we're gonna do this right, we have to watch these movies. That's fucking right. They're not gonna do that. You have to give these a shot, right? So. Can you just leave me alone?
Lisa, not finished.
No, I'm not playing it.
Lisa's gonna watch it.
Oh, come on, really?
Lisa's gonna watch it.
Listen, I have nothing against it. It's crap.
Jar Jar's the best.
This is complied too often. Fine. Why aren't you doing anything? Yeah, I'm just a cameraman.
You sound like Boba. No? Okay.
Will Mad Vad watch the horrendous prequels of Star Wars? Will Boba Fett ever finish his muffin and fix his camera skills? And is Jar Jar fucking crazy? Find out next time on Mad Vad Z. Well, Mad Vad. Just stick to Mad Vad 5. Yeah, it'll continue next week. Well, not next week. Well, tomorrow on Revenge of the 5th. And if you have questions on whether or not we're gonna use that silly theme song anymore, we're gonna continue it louder just for you. So enjoy.